Hello, dear friends. I am going to deliver a lecture on farm mechanization and tillage. Friends, all of you know that most of the essential requirements of human beings are being supplied by the crops, either by main products or byproducts or processed products. And now it is a great problem to provide the different things for ever increasing population of human beings and animal beings. Therefore, it can be solved by the two ways. The first way is to increase the land area, but as you know, it is a limited natural resource and it is impossible to increase like elastic. And the second way is to increase the productivity, means production per unit area by adopting the intensive cultivation. So the second way is a remedy to solve the problem of food, fodder and agro-based things. And this is possible through the farm mechanization. So now we discuss about the meaning and concept of farm mechanization. Mechanization of farm means the use of machines for conducting agricultural operations, replacing the traditional methods which involve human and animal labor. Farm mechanization implies the use of mechanical technology and the varied farming operations like tilling, sowing, weeding, watering, spraying, dusting, harvesting, threshing, etc. Now, farm mechanization is an important element of modernization of agriculture. As you know, farm productivity positively correlated with the availability of farm power, coupled with efficient farm implements and their judicious utilization. Agricultural mechanization not only enables efficient utilization of various inputs such as seeds, fertilizers, plant protection measures, chemicals, and water, but also it helps in poverty alleviation by making farming an attractive enterprise. Now, the farm mechanization is the removal from the farm of human and animal power and replacing it with mechanical power. The resulting improvements in productivity are often. Now we discuss about the categories of farm mechanization. There are two categories of farm mechanization. First is selective mechanization and the second is the total mechanization. Now what is the selective mechanization? When some important farm jobs are done by the machine, that is land preparation, sowing, etc. So these are under the selective mechanization. Now, what is the total mechanization? When all the farm jobs are done by machines, that is all unit operations are known as selective mechanization. Now, what is the need of farm mechanization? Today's the need of farm mechanization is very important as discussed here. The first point of the need of farm mechanization is to meet the growing needs of growing population in almost the same amount of cultivable land. The second need is efficient utilization of input such as seed, fertilizers, water, etc. and other natural resources. For timely operations of agricultural activities are most need of the farm mechanization of the farmers, and the next need of the farm mechanization is to increase the productivity of food grains and to meet the global standards. Now, the availability of adequate farm power is very crucial for timely farm operations, for increasing production and productivity, and handling the crop produce to reduce the different types of losses. Next, what is the economic importance of farm mechanization? Here, the importance of mechanization, and for the point of view of economic is given in percentage, like increase in productivity up to 12 to 34%. Seed cum fertilizer drill facilitates number one, saving in seed from 20 to 25%. Saving in fertilizer from 15 to 20%. But the next point is enhancement in cropping intensity. While we are adopting the farm mechanization, the cropping intensity increased by 5 to 22%. Now the increase in gross income of the farmers, it is from 30 to 50%. This data is given a report of the subgroup on agriculture implement machinery government of India. Now we discuss about the advantages of farm mechanization. There are so many advantages of farm mechanization. The first advantage for the point of view of the increasing the production for agricultural labor or worker. This is achieved by the adoption of power for farm operation instead more labors. While we are adopting the farm mechanization, we need less labor in comparison to traditional package of practices. Second advantage of the farm mechanization is increasing production per hour of work. It means better quality, timely operation, timely sowing, harvesting, and other package of practices are adopted in farm mechanization timely, and its result is higher production. Now, the decrease in number of farm workers due to by adopting the farm mechanization, we decrease the farm workers per package of practice. This decreases and agricultural workers allows an increase in the number of workers needed in industries. The next advantage of farm mechanization is more products available. The consumers, by adoption farm mechanization, production on the field and material for products is not required and reduces the workers. The increased standard of living of the farm. The income of the agriculture producers may be exposed. The next advantage, the better management. Under this, linkages among different unit operations is possible by the farm mechanization. The greater timeliness for critical operations like harvesting, threshing, etc. Now, the general working conditions are also improved efficiently in various farm operations. Now, we noted that there are some problems relating to the farm mechanization faced by the farmers are given as the first problem faced by the farmer is small size and scattered land holdings. The second problem is the financial inability of the small farmers. The third problem is faced by the farmers lack of proper knowledge about farm machineries, and the next problem is lack of repair and replacement facility, especially in the remote rural areas, and the limited availability of sale outlets. So this is also a big problem faced by the farmers. And the next problem faced by the farmer is lack of accessibility for procurement. Now we discuss about the what is the national mission on farm mechanization. Under the national mission on farm mechanization, the increasing the reach of farm mechanization to small and marginal farmers and to the regions where availability of farm power is low. And the next goal under the national mission on farm mechanization is offsetting adverse economies of scale and higher cost of ownership of high value farm equipment by promoting custom hiring center for agricultural machinery. It is a very important need which is recognized for the National Mission on Farm Mechanization. The next need for the farm mechanization mission is promoting farm mechanization by creating awareness among different stakeholders through demonstration and capacity building activities. And the next and last national mission need for farm mechanization is ensuring quality control of new developed agricultural machinery, equipment, etc., through performance evaluation and certifying them at designated testing centers located at all over the country. Now, here we are giving some suggestions for increasing the farm mechanization. For one suggestion is the facilities for time loan from the banks or government institution should be provided to purchase the farm machinery, equipment, tools, etc. And the second suggestion is the repair and maintenance service centers should be extended in remote rural areas also. It is most needful suggestion at the present time. The next suggestion is the training centers should be open to solve the problems of farmers regarding the farm equipment, machinery, tools, etc. And the next suggestion, the development and introduction of small tractors should be encouraged. That is the current need of the small and marginal farmers. The next suggestion is by introducing the improved agricultural implements on small size holdings to the operated by owners. Now, the next suggestion is the farm machinery suitable for different types of soil and operations for important crops should be developed and manufactured. So the suitable of for different types of soil and operations farm machinery is varied according to the type of soil and it depends on area to area. The next suggestion is the repair and maintenance service centers should be extended in rural areas also. And the next suggestion is the training center for imparting the training to the farmers and artisans to solve the problems of farmers regarding the farm machinery, equipment, tools, etc. Now, it is also important suggestion at present time that the mobile service center should be started to encourage the service of farm machinery, equipments, the for the next what is the future plan or strategy for farm mechanization with extension interventions. So the first point under this extension intervention for the farm mechanization evolving the future prospects is active involvement of farmers through user groups or farmers, other association groups, and the extension methods should be adopted. Those are suitable farmer to farmer extension process. The second point is the coverage and scope of farmers field school. That is, this is the approach may significantly improve the farmer's knowledge on new technological options. Now, the next extension intervention should be needful. That is the increasing use of media and information technology, including like cyber kiosks, and the next is building gender concerns into the system. It is very important intervention for the point of the extension strategy. Now the selective mechanization is very important in the present time. Now, the next uh, point which is discussed here, the general practices of field operation for a crop care. What are the general practices? Those are practices for the crop growth and development. The first is the land development, tillage and seed bed preparation through the MB plow, disc plow, subsoiler, arrows, cultivators, levelers, etc. Now, sowing and planting machinery equipments like seed drill, planter, transplanter, developer, seed dropping behind plow, and seed broadcasting, etc. Now, weeding and interculture operation implements or tools like hand hoe, power weeder, animal drawn tool, and tractor mounted implement, etc. Now, there are some plant protection equipment like testers and sprayers for plant protection purpose. Now, some irrigation equipments are also very important in this under the micro irrigation system like drip irrigation and sprinkler irrigation system. Now, the harvesting equipment which are also very important like sickle, serrated sickle, tractor mounted and self-propelled harvesting, threshing and combined machinery. Now, thresher like tempered wheat or power operated thresher, etc. are very important. Now, winnower, manual and power operated winnowers are also applicable. Now, the next I will discuss about the tillage. What is tillage? Tillage is on the forms or management practices of soil, water, nutrients, crops, and pests. It is the soil steering action carried out for the purpose of nurturing crops or mechanical manipulation of soil for the purpose of the crop growth. Now, the next is tillage is one of the important mechanization practice. Under this, there is a term that is the tilth. What is tilth? Tilth is physical condition of the soil brought out by tillage that influence the crop, emergence, establishment, growth, and development. There are some properties of tilth, like allow rapid diffusion of carbon dioxide from the subsoil to the atmosphere. Soil pools held much water, and the surface soil should be crumbly and allow good germination. So these are the properties of the good tilth. Now, tilth is the physical condition of soil, and now we will discuss it helps to create the environments for seed germination, root, heat control, soil erosion, and moisture control. Now, what are the objectives of tillage? The main objective of tillage is to improve the physical, chemical, and biological conditions of soil. Now, the other objectives are to obtain deep seedbed suitable for different crops. And the second, to add humus and fertility to soil by covering the vegetation. And the next objective is to destroy and prevent weeds. And the next objective is to aerate the soil for proper growth of crops. Now, The next objective of the tillage is to increase water absorbing capacity of soil, and next to destroy insect, pest and their breeding places. And the last objective of the tillage is to reduce the soil erosion. Now, what are the advantages of tillage? Advantage of tillage may be categorized into three categories: physical advantage, chemical advantages, and biological advantage. First, we discuss about the physical advantage. So here are so many physical advantages of the tillage. First, physical advantage is to improve the capacity of soil in receiving rain or irrigation water, retaining and releasing moisture for crop, and the second, to maintain proper structural condition of the soil. The third one is to redistribute the soil constituents, particularly soil particles, that is sand, silt, and clay, organic matter, microorganism, different types of microorganisms distributed while we are tilling the soil properly, and moisture and air should be maintained sufficient on the soil. And the next advantage, physical advantage, is to incorporate top residues, etc. soil. And the next one is to increase the soil aeration while we are tilling properly. And the next one is to reduce soil erosion, degradation, and depletion. And the next one is to modify slightly thermic capacity of the soil, means the heat or temperature of the soil should be maintained. So this is the advantage of the, these are the advantage of the physical point of view. And the chemical point of view, the advantage of the tillage are to accelerate the weathering of the soil, to expedite the reclamation of problem soils, to improve the availability of plants, nutrients by enhancing the decomposing the organic matter, and mineralization. These are the natural processes. While we are telling, they are accelerated, like mineralization. These are the soil forming under the soil forming processes, and these are very important processes to be occurred by the tilling. And the last one is under the chemical advantage of tillage is to expel toxic gases from the prolonged release soil conditions. Now we discuss about the biological advantages. Under the biological advantage, the first one is to control weeds, soil-borne insects, pests, pathogens, etc. And the second, to improve distribution of nutrients and growth of roots by reducing penetration and resistance of the soil. The next one, biological advantage of tillage is to prune older and inactive roots. The next, to earth up and suppress late tillers, suckers, stolen. So by suppressed these tillers, suckers, stolen is very important while the tillage process to increase the production per unit of plant and per unit of area. The next one, biological advantage is to provide conditions suitable for necessary field operations. And the next one is to provide greater total underground environment for prolonged period growth and build of plant. And the next one is to enlarge growth and activities of soil inhabitant, beneficial flora and fauna, including the symbiotic bacteria. Now we discuss about the types of tillage operations. Tillage operations are broadly grouped into three categories. The first is plowing, second is harrowing, and the third is cultivating. First, under the plowing, what, what is done after harvesting the crop? The field is undercut, inverted, and exposed to weather by the use of plows. It means it is done by the primary tillage processes. And harrowing, the next operation is the harrowing. After plowing, to bring the soil into desirable health, means suitable physical condition, the soil for sowing or planting or transplant. So harrowing is done mainly for the final preparation of the land or field. Now the third tillage operation is cultivating. The working soil after seeding, planting, transplanting becomes essential for various purposes, such as loosening surface of the soil, crust due to the post-planting rains or irrigation. If the rain occurred or field is irrigated and there is a formation of crust after the sowing or planting, then cultivating should be done. For example, weeding, thinning, hoeing, earthing up, and mixing fertilizers. Now we discuss about the types of tillage. There are two types of tillage: primary tillage and secondary tillage. The primary tillage, under this initial major working operations are done under this to reduce the strength of soil. The secondary tillage, under this lighter and finer operations after the primary tillage should be done. Under the secondary tillage, there are so many practices are being done, like cultivating, harrowing, pulverizing, grazing, raking, hoeing, labeling, ridging, in potato, vegetables, and so many crops. Earthing up and sugarcane, potatoes, and sweet potatoes, and other crops. And post-harvest practices, post-cultivating and maize, etc. So now we will discuss about the disadvantages of tillage. As you know, there are some disadvantages of tillage are also, while the over tillage or more tillage is done in any field. So what is the advantage? The first disadvantage of tillage is over tillage causes to deteriorate physical condition of the soil. Under the physical condition, deterioration like a temperature, aeration, density, and porosity, likewise. The second disadvantage of tillage is more tillage with heavy machinery and equipment form a hard pan immediately below the tilled layer. This reduces infiltration and induces runoff. Soil erosion, another negative effects, so many under the disadvantage of tillage. Now, the factors that destroy the soil till, that is that compact the soil, are mainly gravity, rainfall, and traffic. Now, if a tractor with 37 centimeter wide tires pulling a 5-meter secondary tillage implement or a seed drill will pack 15% of the ground approximately. So these are some disadvantages of the tillage. Now, there are some implements of primary and secondary tillage. Here, first we discuss about the primary tillage implements. Under these, moldboard plows, disc plows, chisel plows, subsoiler, and rotary tillers. These are some important primary tillage implements those are using nowadays for the purpose of the farm mechanization. So this is the subsoiler and this is the moldboard plow. This is disc plow. This is rotary tiller. Now, what is moldboard plows? The moldboard plow is a primary tillage implement. Mainly, the moldboard plow cuts loose the furrow slice, inverts the furrow slice with more or less pulverization, and in doing so, it also performs. Now, what are the purpose of plowing? The first purpose of plowing is to create a deep seed bed physically, chemically, and biologically fitted to the growth of crops. The second purpose of plowing is to add humus and fertility to the soil by covering and worrying crop residues and manures so that they are incorporated in the soil. The third one purpose of plowing is to prevent and destroy weeds or other unwanted vegetation. The next purpose is to leave the soil in such condition that air will circulate freely. And the next purpose of plowing is to leave the soil in such condition as to retain moisture from the rain or irrigation. And the next one is to destroy insects, pests, as well as their eggs, larvae, and also their breeding places. Now, the next purpose of plowing is to leave the surface in condition to prevent erosion by winds. Now, we discuss about the plowing operations. Each furrow must be perfectly straight from end to end. Soil must be pulverized from top to bottom of the furrow. The outline of the furrow should be point without break or depression. All back furrow must be slightly raised and all trace completely covered. Furrows must be thoroughly uniform with one another, and the dead furrow must be as less as possible. Now, what are the methods of plowing? There are two main methods of plowing. The first is gathering and the second is casting. And other methods are also applying like mixed plowing method and corner to corner plowing method. Now, what is the gathering method? As you see in this diagram, in this method, plow works around a strip of plowed land. A ridge is formed exactly midway. Ridge is formed exactly midway between the two sides boundaries. This method is used if the field has lower elevation in the center. So this is the uh, gathering method. Next, casting method. What is casting method? Whenever a plow works around a strip of an unplowed land, it is said to be casting. The tractor with the plow turns to the left each time. A trench will be left in the center in the end. This method is used in fields having higher elevation in the center. So this is the casting method of plowing. Now, what are the secondary tillage implements? The implements used for preparing the soil by smoothing, packing the soil and killing weeds which are killed secondary, called the secondary tillage implements. All tillage operations after primary tillage are under the secondary tillage. Till at shallower depth and create refined soil conditions by the secondary tillage implements. Now, what are the purpose of secondary tillage implements? Here are some purposes are given here. The first purpose of secondary tillage implement is to pulverize soil lumps. The second, mulch the soil surface, firm soil underneath to provide a smooth, uniform seedbed. And the next one purpose is close air pockets. And the next, incorporate chemicals, control weeds. And the next one is cover broadcast seeds. And the next is the stir the soil. So these are the purposes of the secondary tillage implements. Now, we discuss about the types of secondary tillage implements. There are three types of secondary tillage implements. First is harrows, second pulverizers and rollers, and third is cultivators. So first we discuss about the harrows. There are two types of harrows. Disc harrows, trailing type or mounted type. Under this, we subcategorize to three categories: single action, disc harrows, double action, and offset type. And the second category, toothed harrow. Under this, we subcategorize the toothed harrows into two categories: spike tooth harrow and spring tooth harrows. And the third category is the blade harrows. Now, the secondary tillage implement is pulverizers and rollers, and the third category is cultivators. It is again subcategorized into two categories: rest time cultivators and springtime cultivators. Now, what is the disc harrow? The disc harrow showing the principle of attrition of the angle of the ends of discs. Disc harrows are best suited for lands having stones or stumps because this can roll over obstructions. So, as we saw in this figure, there are three types of disc harrows: single acting disc harrow, double disc, or tandem disc. And the third is the mounted offset disc. Now, we discuss about the cultivators. Tine cultivator. It is cultivators fitted with tines. They may be spring or having soils. So this is the rest tine cultivator, and this is the spring loaded cultivators. So these are the two types of cultivators. Now we discuss about the few important functions of cultivators. First function of cultivator is interculture the fields. The second, destroy the weeds in the fields. The third one is aerate the soil for proper growth of crops. Conserve moisture by preparing mulch to the surface. And the next important function of cultivator is sow the seeds when it is provided with sowing attachments. And the next function of cultivator is prevents surface evaporation and encourage rapid infiltration of rainwater into the soil. Now we discuss about the spike tooth harrow. What is spike tooth harrow? It is used to smooth seedbed, break soft clods, kill small weeds as the spike tooth harrow emerge from soil, close air pockets in the soil, loosen and aerate soil, and break rain crushed soil for best emergence of seedlings. The working depth of this kind of harrow is generally 5 centimeters. So these are the figures, the spike tooth harrows, like this zigzag harrow, like this spring tooth harrow, and this is the spike tooth harrow, and this is the triangle harrow. Harrow. So this is about the spike tooth harrow. Now, what are the pulverizers and rollers? These implements are used immediately after plowing or harrowing if the land is too prepared for seeding purpose. Operating these implements is to crush grain and tear the unevenly. Plowing well-packed seeds bed loses from the land. So this is about the pulverizers and rollers. These are the blade worker and these are the level. This is the leveler. Now there is some special purpose tillage operations. Tillage operations intended to serve special purposes are used for the special purpose. Types of special purpose tillage: subsoiling. What is subsoiling? To break the hard pan beneath the plowing, there are special tillage operations such as chiseling performed to reduce compaction. The second special property is clean tillage. It refers working of the soil of the entire field in such a way no living plant is left undisturbed. And the next special property is blind tillage. It refers to tillage done after seeding or planting the crop either at the pre-emergence stage of the crop or while they are in the early stages of growth. Example, sugar and potato, etc. Now, mulch tillage. In this tillage crop, residues are mixed with the soil. A certain amount of residues remain on the soil surface to control erosion and conserve moisture. Now, wet tillage or puddling. The tillage operation is done in the land with standing water until the soil becomes soft and muddy, like in paddy field. Now, the next is special purpose tillage is zero tillage. In this, new crop is planted in the residues of the previous crop without any prior soil tillage or seedbed preparation. For example, zero fertilization used in paddy wheat cropping system. Thank you. In